Hi everyone, and welcome back to Waterhouse Forde. Well, we've got the whole family here today. Obviously, it's this is a milestone video. We're actually bringing the engine back onto the tractor after in fact, almost a year since we split the tractor. I'll put a link here to the video where we were splitting the tractor, and you can watch that if you're interested. But yeah, so I got Oscar and Kathy to help me with this. Obviously, we've got the crane and we've got jacks and we've got everything that we need to do the heavy lifting, but obviously this task involves a lot of alignment and careful maneuvering, so I figured I could do with a couple of extra pairs of hands. So yeah, hope that you enjoy this video, and yeah, let's get on with it. Okay, now before we get started, I wanted to just do a quick update on the previous video. So in the previous video we refitted the flywheel and the clutch, and you will recall, if you watched that video, I wasn't quite sure how to align the flywheel. As I said in that video, ultimately it doesn't make any actual difference to the timing of the engine, other than you've got some timing marks on the flywheel, and obviously that can help you to determine where the engine, or what state the engine is in, or which part of the cycle the engine is in. In the end, I landed up putting this main mark over here, if you remember. So it was sort of 90 degrees before, 90 degrees before the top. Now, when I was preparing for this video, just cleaning everything, I realized that there's a little arrow marked on the body of the engine over here, actually on the block. And so I figured these two arrows probably need to align. And so what I've quickly done, removed the clutch and the flywheel, realigned it so that that arrow is now pointing at that arrow, and we're going to go with that setting. So yeah, I just wanted to give you a quick update on that. Now, in terms of bringing the engine to marry with the tractor, we've got this stud at the top here. That's our main one, and it's the only one in this whole fitting. So we're going to use that to do the alignment. We also need to make sure that the shaft, the input shaft to the gearbox, goes into the driven plate on the clutch. I'm going to step you through very quickly how we do that. Ultimately, it's a little bit of hit and miss, but there's a few things that you can do to try to make it go in as smoothly as possible. So we'll quickly run through those. Okay. The first thing we want to do is basically make sure that this input shaft to the gearbox is as level as possible. Obviously, if it's level, and we then make sure that the engine is relatively level, then you've got a good chance of that slipping on. So I've got a little level here, and I'm just going to measure this. Okay, so we're not quite level. We need to go down slightly in the front. Now, unfortunately, I can't go down anymore because this jack is at its lowest point. The only other option would be to try and lift the back somehow, but I think that's going to be a little bit challenging.
Could you put a lower block and raise the jack?
Yeah, but then I would need to replace the jack.
Well, what we could do is we could get the other jack, hold the engine up with that, or axle stands, and then
yeah. Well, the other way to do it is I can see how far out it is. It's literally up to the second line on the level. So what we can do is make sure that the engine is at a similar angle when we bring it in. It's not a huge amount. It's not a big difference. So we can try that. Now, to measure the angle or the attitude of the engine, what we're going to do is put the clutch alignment tool back in, and we can now measure how level that is. And on this one, we can see it's actually exactly the same, ironically, even though it's actually on axle stands at the moment. Now, that's what we need to do is obviously lift it up off the axle stands. We're going to use the engine leveler on the crane basically to come back to this sort of attitude in terms of the forward, front to back level of the engine, and we're going to try to get to that same angle, and then hopefully it will slip in a little bit easier. One final thing that we can do is we can see where the splines are on the driven plate, on the clutch plate. So what I can see here is that we've got a hill, if you want to think of it, you've got the hills and the valleys in the spline. We've got a hill at literally in line with this, the top of, or the 90 the zero line on the 360 degrees. So what we're going to do is turn the input shaft to the gearbox to match as roughly as we can. So just eyeball it and hope that, or basically aim to have a valley at the 0 degree position in the input shaft, and that should hopefully help the input shaft to slip in to the spline more easily. Okay, the first job we need to do is get the engine up onto the engine crane and basically off the axle stand. So before we do anything, we're going to make sure that these chains are all fast and tight. Okay, Oscar, let's take it up slowly. Okay, a bit quicker than that. That's fine, don't worry, keep going. Okay, that'll do. Right, now we can remove all these axle stands and everything. Okay, now what we're going to do is test that level again, see if we can get the engine to be hanging at the right attitude as to match the input shaft.
It definitely moved, didn't it?
Okay, so again what we'll do is put the alignment tool in. We know that it's moved, we know that the attitude is wrong. Oscar's going to turn the handle on the engine leveler, and you want to bring it towards you, Oscar.
Yeah.
Just let go of the engine next if you're holding it when that changes.
Yeah, we'll get it. Keep going. It's a long way to go.
Okay.
Build those muscles.
I'm going to hold it in the middle because...
Oh, it's got a long way, hasn't it?
Okay, walk slowly now. Go half a turn. Another half. That's too much. Come back.
Just a quarter.
Yeah, hold it there. Okay, so now we can see. You probably won't be able to see it on the camera, but basically the bubble is just touching this back line on the level, which was the same as the input shaft on the gearbox. Right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to lower the engine. What I mean by that is, when you're trying to align, it's easier to align by lifting the engine. It's less precise to lower it because obviously with the hydraulic jack, which is effectively what the crane lift is you can obviously go up very gently, but whereas when you're going down it's kind of not all or nothing, but it's less precise to be able to move just a little bit down. So generally what we want is we want the engine to be lower than the gearbox, and then we can gently, when it's in place, we can slowly bring it up to match. So Oscar, what we're going to do is gently take it down.
You're going to help with this?
No,
So it doesn't go too far. It won't hit the floor, will it?
It might.
So that thing was quite stiff, so...
Yeah. Do you want me to do it?
no, I can't. There we go. How's that?
Nice and controlled. Yeah, that's lower, that's
yeah,
fine.
that's
Okay, tighten that.
Yeah.
Okay, now what we're going to do, we're going to move the engine crane, literally manhandle it so that the engine is closer to the tractor. Okay, are we ready?
Yep.
So I'm going to push you sort of steady the engine
Mhm.
and try to steer.
Yeah. Oscar, you steer, I'll steady.
Okay.
So
So that means steering is using the bottom, right?
yeah, come this side, Oscar. Come on the other side of mommy, so you're not. So what you want to do is once it starts moving, pull it that way.
Okay.
Quite a long way, and then I'm going to swing the back out to match because it actually needs to physically move over a bit. Okay.
Okay.
So we'll wait until we get it going, and you'll find it's easier. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Pull. Mommy, you push. If you can. Okay, we're about there now in terms of alignment.
I think we need to go a bit right, but we'll do that. I'm pulling. Ugh.
Okay, that wheel is stuck for some reason.
Is it
This
locked?
It's just the weight.
Yeah.
I think it's this one.
This one's a There we go.
Whoa.
Okay. Alright, now we need to find a way of going in a bit more gently.
Yeah.
So I think
I've got the engine.
I've also got engine.
Okay, well,
Oh,
we're
Okay.
pretty much there.
we need to go right a bit. Right and
No, it's fine. Let's just get the height now. So Oscar, back on the jack.
Okay.
So, what we're trying to do is to line that stud up with its hole in the engine, in the tractor. Sorry,
Keep going.
in terms of height.
Yeah.
Okay, walk slowly, just a little bit.
more. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
The hole's in there, yeah.
Yeah, keep going.
Well, no, that's it.
It's still too low. That's
Um,
still too low.
Oscar, bring me a screwdriver or something.
Okay, so I think when we get closer, maybe we should try and get closer.
It's too big. Give me a small one.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Okay, up a little bit, Oscar.
Tiny bit.
Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, let's try there.
That's sort of it. Yeah.
Okay, now we know that we also need to move that way a bit, right? So I'm going to try and push the crane.
Okay.
I'm gonna help with the engine.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to try and bring it in slowly.
You know, you still got this screwdriver in at the moment, yeah?
Yeah, that one needs to stay there.
Okay.
Okay, it needs to come this way a bit.
I think
How's
it
that
needs,
stud lining up?
needs to go up a little bit.
It does, yeah. Go up a bit, please, Oscar.
Okay. There we go.
Keep going. Go, go, go. Probably all the way down. Okay, let's try there.
I think you're too high now.
There.
Yeah, definitely. Half centimetre too high.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'll bring it down.
No, don't need to. This just needs to be very precise.
Yeah, I guess the clutch is already in the tractor.
Not seeing it move yet.
Hang on. Okay, here we go.
That
Hang on. Tiny bit more. Tiny bit more.
I don't.
It is. It's a tiny bit more. Stop.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Probably need to. Now I think we just use the we just push the engine in. Maybe try turning the engine so that the
Hang on.
bottom that seems to be catching, isn't it?
I think it's the PTO shaft.
It actually needs to come.
It's like it's hitting something on the bottom,
No, I don't.
so that it won't go right.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't see anything.
I
the
can feel
input
it.
shaft. The input shaft is
I can
touching
feel
on
it.
that thing. It's because it's not 100% lined up, so it needs to come this way slightly.
Which way are we going? We need to go up a bit. There. We need to just kind of
It's going toward me a bit now. It's a little bit over towards Oscar at the moment.
Almost.
There you go.
Yeah.
Going in.
Okay. Oscar,
Yeah.
up there is a nut with a spring washer on it.
Yeah. Come around the other side.
Just put the nut on first, the washer won't fit to start with. Just want to lock it in place. Other way. Let me see. Just give it to me.
There
Okay, that's it. Now I'm just going to push the crane towards you a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay.
we go. So there's a little stud thing here.
Yeah. Is it lined up?
We need to rotate that way a bit.
Do we?
Yeah. There.
Ah, that's nice.
Perfect. Right. Do it. Grab a spanner up there, Oscar. I see there's two there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's 11/16. Tighten that. Oh, take the nut off, put the washer on, tighten it,
Okay.
and then we can get all the other bolts in.
I want to do something.
Oh, okay.
You have been doing something.
No, I'm really doing something now. Like, actually
So there you go. That's
Okay.
at least how we marry the engine back up to the tractor. Obviously, what would have been easier is if we had the engine on a trolley that we could actually push it in, but because our floor is quite rough, this workshop floor is quite rough concrete, I felt that this was going to be the best way. Still didn't make for a smooth journey, shall we say, for the engine, but it well, we managed it, and it actually went in nice and easily, comparatively speaking. It definitely helps to take an extra 5 minutes to make sure that the input shaft and the clutch plate are matched up, as in the same position. And as I say, just getting an idea of the correct angle as well helps hugely. Now once we've got all these bolts in, I'm not going to film all that, we'll come back when all the bolts are in. But once all the bolts are back in, what we're going to do is use the engine crane again to lift the front of the tractor and get the engine supported from underneath again on axle stands. And in the next video, or at least video series, we're going to be working on the front axle, which is going to give us, basically start to build out the front, and eventually this tractor may actually stand on its own four wheels again after almost a year. Anyway, we're going to stop the video here, we'll get it all bolted up, and then we'll come back. Okay, so we can see the engine is now on and bolted up. We've tightened those bolts real tight. Obviously we want them to be nice and tight because that's basically holding the whole tractor together. Again, I couldn't find any specific torque settings for those, but basically I just made them as tight as I could. Right, now what we're going to do, Oscar's going to jack up or raise the engine crane so that we can come off of that jack at the bottom, and then we're going to move that forward and basically put it under the engine, so that we're going to put engine stands under, I think, rather, so that that's nice and firm and we can continue working on the tractor safely. So Oscar, let's bring it up a bit, please.
Why don't we put both under, so that if we need to, we can still jack it up and...
It doesn't matter. It is what it is. We can always put a jack under later if we need to. All I'm interested in now is getting it stable and safe.
Ooh. Should we have this on the half-turn setting?
Yeah, that's fine. Keep going. Okay, we're loose. Right, hold it there. Now, we'll use these. Okay. Right, you can bring that down now.
Okay.
Nice and gentle. Okay.
Gentle.
And that's it. So the engine is now on. It's safe. We can now remove the engine crane and get it out of the way. And that means we can now continue working on this tractor and on this engine and getting it all finished up. As I said, the next series of videos will be us putting the front axle together. We're effectively going to build it onto the tractor rather than assemble it and then have to manhandle it with... You saw how floppy it is when it's not connected. So what we're going to do is basically get the centerpiece, so the axle pin, the pivot pin, into the main beam, get the front assembly on, bolt that to the front of the engine, and then work on the spindles, the axles, and then eventually finally of course the radius rods and the steering rods, and then obviously ultimately the wheels. So basically we're going to build it up as we go. Right, well look, that's it for this video. That's all there is to it. Line it up, take a little bit of time to get it all properly lined up, and then effectively just slide it in, give it a little nudge here and there, and when it's ready it'll slip straight in, and you're good to go. Alright, thanks very much for watching. Hope that you all have a good week ahead, and of course we'll see you in the next video. So cheers for now.
Bye.